teammate Donovan Mitchell seeming to take him to task. So then he posted on Instagram to say the following: I want to thank everyone for the outpouring of concern and support over the last 24 hours. I have gone through so many emotions since learning my diagnosis, mostly fear, anxiety, and embarrassment. The first and most important thing is I would like to publicly apologize to the people that I may have endangered. At the time, I had no idea I was even infected. I was careless and make no excuse. I hope my story serves as a warning and causes everyone to take this seriously. I will do whatever I can to support using my experience as a way to educate others and prevent the spread of this virus. I am under great care and will fully recover. Thank you again, all of you, for your support. I encourage everyone to take all of the steps to stay safe and healthy. Love.
With that, we bring in Stephen A. Smith once again, joining us from our New York studios. And Stephen A., I'd like to offer a little bit more context to the Instagram post there by Rudy Gobert, because that came after Donovan Mitchell, who, as we know, has since been diagnosed with coronavirus as well. He posted on his Instagram saying something that you could read into if you wanted to, saying, we hope people can continue to educate themselves and realize that they need to behave responsibly for both their own health and for the well-being of those around them. And of course, we saw the video of Rudy Gobert touching the microphones, and we have heard that he was quite careless in the locker room leading up to last night's events. What's your take on what's happening with this Utah Jazz team?
Well, I'm concerned about them because they had a player in Rudy Gobert who obviously was insensitive to the situation, made light of the situation in a fashion that simply was just not an intelligent thing to do. And not only was he jovial and playful, inappropriately so with the media in terms of touching their microphones and their cameras and things of that nature, but also he went into the locker room, according to a report by our very own Woj, Adrian Wojnarowski, earlier today, where you had players talking about how he was playful and he was toying with them because he didn't take it seriously at all. He was touching their clothes. He was touching their material. He was touching them. So clearly he was making light of the situation in a fashion that was irresponsible. As a result, one could argue Donovan Mitchell has been contaminated potentially because of that. We don't know who else on the Utah Jazz may be suffering the same plight. We'll find out, I suspect, in hours, if not by tomorrow. Not to mention the fact that, again, he was on the court for 31 minutes when they played against the Toronto Raptors on Monday. According to reports, they were being tested as well. So this could have a very rippling effect, to say the least.
Again, nothing, of course, done intentionally, but to Donovan's point, Rudy's point, hopefully at this point everybody can learn from what has happened and go forward, being as smart as humanly possible as everybody tries to learn more about the situation. Stephen A. Smith, thank you for your perspective as always. Ryan.
And let's put this in perspective. Nationwide impact of the coronavirus at this point, there's been more than 1,300 cases in the United States and 39 deaths. So, Sage, when you look at everything that's happened today, I think one of the lessons is safety first is paramount.
Absolutely.
That's the big thing. You feel for those affected, but if anything's been learned from Gobert, it's the idea that we all have to stay safe. We all have to be careful. This is serious business.
And of course, pretty much everything that we know of, basketball, of course, football, all kinds of activities have been canceled. We do know now, without fans and patrons, PGA Tour event continuing, NASCAR right now continuing without fans, also some combat sports, MMA, etc. We're still learning what's happening with that, but for now, those are the only things that are continuing in the sports world.
That's right, and SportsCenter continues with Zubin and Michael. We'll see you.
Studio be in Atlanta, and under normal circumstances, the vibe would be a little bit different on a Thursday as we would be, getting you ready for 5 games, but these obviously aren't normal circumstances. This is Game Time, of course, brought to you by Toyota. Ro Paris, joined by Dennis Scott, Quentin Richardson. Now, we're here to deliver the latest on the impact of the COVID-19, or more commonly known as the coronavirus, how it's affecting the sports world. So a pause button has been pressed on all the professional world, and for the amateurs as well. The NCAA has canceled the men's and women's college basketball tournament, along with all winter and spring championships. Now, while the spectrum of sports has changed overall, the dominoes began to fall Wednesday night in OKC. The Jazz and Thunder, the game was delayed and then later on postponed due to reports that a Jazz player had been sick. It was later confirmed that the player was Rudy Gobert, who tested positive for the coronavirus. Gobert never made it to the arena, we learned later on that his teammate Donovan Mitchell also tested positive for the same virus. The NBA was swift and decisive on their decision to suspend the season not long after this all took place. In the statement from Donovan Mitchell, as he posted on his social media, thanks to everyone who's been reaching out since hearing the news about my positive test. We are all learning more about the seriousness of this situation, and hopefully people can continue to educate themselves and realize that they need to behave responsibly, both for their own health and for the well-being of those around them. I am going to keep following the advice of our medical staff and hope that we can all come together and be there for each other and our neighbors who need our help. That's via Spider Mitchell's Instagram. Rudy Gobert also posted on social media, I want to thank everyone for the outpouring concern and support over the last 24 hours. I've gone through so many emotions since learning of my diagnosis, mostly fear, anxiety, embarrassment. The first and most important is I would like to publicly apologize to the people that I may have endangered. At the time, I had no idea I was even infected. I was careless. I make no excuses. I am under great care and will fully recover. Thank you again for all your support. I encourage everyone to take all of the steps to stay safe and healthy. Love. That comes from Rudy Gobert. So obviously a lot of things have changed. This is virtually uncharted waters. We haven't seen anything like this in professional sports, and we see the effect it's having on the NBA, on all professional sports, even down to the amateur level. 3D, what's your initial reaction seeing how all this is unfolding?
I'm still in awe and still in shock, Ro, because we talk about it as players and NCAA, men's and women, but as we were just talking about conversing in the back, people forget about the makeup ladies, the runners, the audio people. So when you get to the arena earlier, you see all the people, the service truck, the service people that put the events on, that put the NCAA on, that put the finals on, that put the playoffs on. Those are the people who are just as affected as these billionaires and millionaires are affected, because these guys and women are living check to check. And those are the type of people that I've noticed that, okay, yes, we want to take care of our health. We know these guys already make a lot of money. But Q, you've seen it. You understand. You've been around these people that, wait a minute, well, what happens to them? Because with no events, there's no jobs for them as well.
Yeah, I mean,
so until we get more information, until we get more understanding what this is really about, I know Adam Silver and his crew will do the best thing for the NBA and for the players, and then we kind of follow suit after that. But let's make sure everyone understands. It trickles from all the way at the top to all the way at the bottom to the people we never see on camera or behind the scenes.
Yeah, and speaking about those people, those are the ones who are affected the most. Like, obviously, we know that the industry, the organizations, the big companies, they're going to be affected. But the money that they're losing, they're not going to be moving out of their house or missing bills or living check to check. Like the people you spoke on, these checks are imperative to their livelihood and existing from day to day. So those are definitely, that's why I was excited to see what Mark Cuban was doing with his organization and with the games that were supposed to be coming. They're going to pay those guys, those people, as like the 4 or 5 games that was left, and then continue to work on solutions moving forward for them. So, hats off to Mark Cuban for doing that, because those people really need it right now.
Yeah, we will indeed talk more about Mark Cuban and the proposal that he set forward. Just looking at the Utah Jazz right now, obviously this is a very touchy situation. Just as far as the teammates go from that aspect, how would you be approaching this if you were, in a sense, on the Utah Jazz at this moment?
Yeah, the way Spider Mitchell was handling the situation, you take your hat off for him for taking the high road, being professional. But Q and I were conversing about in the back. Old school guys, you'd be really, really upset right now because of how it transpired and the carelessness. But now let's turn the page. He made a mistake. Now let's do the best we can now, Q, to support him and build him back up, because it's easier right now to throw more darts to tear him back down. He made a mistake. He's little bro. Let's help little bro and get him back. Now, to your question is, now the Utah Jazz in Oklahoma City is doing all the right things and making sure everyone else is tested, and as they move forward, and like they both said, they're being taken care of now, and hopefully they recover quickly.
Yeah, this is definitely something that we've, uncharted waters, and something that we've never seen, even from a teammate situation. You know what I'm saying? We've obviously seen different things transpire and go on in the locker room that affect each other as teammates, but this right here was, unprecedented. And like 3D said, man, it was a mistake. We all know that he was, being jokingly, going about it jokingly. He didn't take it as serious as he should, but in no way do we believe it was done maliciously or to do any harm. And I think you saw his apology he came out with. I think he's truly remorseful, and now I think moving forward he'll take situations like this much more serious. And I think it's like 3D said, we need to try and build him back up and embrace him now. And he's been kind of